Hello everyone and welcome back to the highlights of the FIA Manufacturer race that we recently did at Blue Moon Bay. So today's video we're driving in the Porsche, obviously that is our manufacturer, starting from P4. This was slot number 3. Not the strongest track if I'm honest for myself, but I do like the layout. I'm just not very good at it. But yeah, managed to qualify P4 in split 2, slot 3. And let's see what we can do in this race. Slot 1, we nearly got the 300 points we needed. So this was an opportunity to maybe get them 300 points we really wanted. And yeah, end the night, because this was the last race we were doing all night because I was extremely tired. So let's see how this goes. Starting from P4, we've got Mahata in front of us. And we've got some drivers that we're not really used to racing around us. Some people obviously that we don't normally race. So it's going to be an interesting one. Let's see what we can do. Trying to be very... This is such a difficult track in my view, personally. I struggle here, particularly the last corner and also turn 1. Struggle to get the right line through the corners. The last corner is... You've got to get as close as to the wall as you dare, but sometimes you get a little bit too close and you can hit that wall. So, yeah, starting from P4, trying to stay with Mahata at the moment. Mahata, obviously, in the Nissan GTR, that car is going to be extremely strong on the straight lines. It's going to be able to really drag out the exits, but you can see there he makes a little bit of a mistake there, but luckily for him he's got the power to probably get back into the slipstream of P2. But you can see we take that corner a lot better there and actually stay right behind Mahata here now, and we're actually nearly going to break the slipstream to the cars behind. So this is an almost ideal start to the race. So unfortunately we're not able to bump draft him because the Porsche is very weak on the straight compared to the Nissan GTR, and he also had a slipstream there. So going through turn 1, again, that way you have to do that corner, it really does. I have to play it safe through that corner because I don't like pushing it, because when I do I normally understeer and hit the wall. So yeah, it's a tricky one, turn 1, and again I like the layout, I'm just not very good at this track. I never seem to be able to get a good result here. But coming through here, a bit of a mistake from P2. Mahata goes to the right, I decided to go to the left. Probably not the best thing to do, but let's see what happens. We're just going to give them space on the inside and try and tuck in behind them, and we still maintain that P4 position. So going through here though, P3 goes for a little move on Mahata. That's going to push him wide, and now we're in the perfect situation here now because we're in the slipstream to P2 and we've just got to try and stay with him. Unfortunately, a big F moment there. We absolutely bottle it, hit the wall, and that is probably the most frustrating mistake we had made all day, because we were in P3 in the slipstream of P2, and if we had just stuck to that we could have got a very good result. But as you can see now, hitting the wall has cost us so much time, because you then have no speed down the straight and we're all the way down to P9, and Matty there sends it as well to put us down to P10. So that from P3 to P10, 7 places lost in one mistake. Really frustrating, but let's see what we can do. We're going to go aggressive because I thought we've got to get these places back. Managed to get 2 places back straight away with a really nice move up the inside there. Caught them napping a little bit and got ourselves back up to P8. So managed to recover 2 positions straight away. But let's see if we can gain any more positions. On the brakes really late there. And on the throttle here, the Vantage gets a little bit loose there. You can see not very good acceleration out of the corner when he doesn't get on the throttle properly. And we go for the move up the inside to put ourselves back up to P7. Really on a mission here to make up for that mistake. So made up 3 positions in less than half a lap. So a good recovery so far. Unfortunately now, we haven't got the slipstream to P6, obviously, because come out of that corner a little bit stronger than us, and his car is also a little bit faster on the straight. So the Vantage behind us though is going to give us a little bit of a bump draft, I think, if I remember correctly. Yeah, a little bit of a bump draft there to try and push us up close to P6. However, still frustrated at myself for that silly mistake. Takes me normally a few laps just to settle back down, and yeah, this lap was not particularly great. You're going to see a few little errors again kicking in on this lap as we try and get close to P6's slipstream as we come out of this again, another tricky corner is this one. You know, you go a little bit too fast, you understeer wide, and you nearly lose it there, and that loses a few attempts again. So into the braking zone, we have to brake as late as we can, down to second gear first again. Through here, I think I was turning in too early into that apex. That's probably one of the errors that I do on that track. I seem to turn in much too early. Maybe I need to brake a little bit later and take a wider entry to get a better exit speed from that. And again, running wide on the exit there, losing even more time. So a very scruffy lap so far. not doing very well. So we're going to skip a little bit further ahead, as the Vantage did bump draft us for a little bit, but we were driving so scruffy, not very well at all, and I think the Vantage had enough of that, so he went for the move, rightly so, because I wasn't really driving very well at this stage of the race. So yeah, he goes for the move, we let him go up there, we make sure that we defend the line to the Alpha just before we get to the corner, because we didn't want to lose 2 positions when we let the Vantage through. So now we're going to try and stay as close as we can to the Vantage in front of us, and try and make as few mistakes as we can so that we do not lose the slipstream to that Aston Martin, because obviously the Aston Martin is going to be very strong on the straight line. Not the best car for the track, I don't think, but definitely not the worst car. It's probably pretty solid with the acceleration it has. So yeah, we're just trying to get him, if we can help him get into the slipstream with Mahata there in P6, who looks like he might have made a mistake as well to drop him down from, I think he was in P4 to P6. So yeah, if we can just bump him forward just a tiny bit with the acceleration off that Aston Martin, we might possibly be able to get in that slipstream train where P5 is there, P6, and just ahead of P5 is P3 and 4. So not out of this race completely yet, still a chance of getting some okay points. So instead of going for the move here and actually going for the overtake, I decided to bump draft the Vantage down the straight just to try and help our overall pace of getting closer to the cars ahead. So again, we're just going to turn in early there just to make sure we cover off that corner so the Alpha doesn't go for the move behind us. And again, yeah, the problem we got here is as soon as the Vantage got in front of me, his pace wasn't as quick as what it was behind me. So you can see we're doing quite well now. We seem to be picking up a rhythm, getting the lines much better for the corner. Again, he's run wide there, and we have to go to the right or we would have probably hit the rear of his car. And we decided to go for the move up the inside and try and get the braking spot on for the apex, which we do. We leave the Vantage some space there. The Alpha behind us also goes for the move to try and get past the Vantage. The Vantage has got the inside though and manages to maintain that position. He almost has a little look up our inside there. Kind of makes me a little bit wary, but it's all good. We carry on into the final corner, trying to get as much of a cut on that corner as possible. However, we hit the wall slightly, and the Vantage still gives us a little bump draft there, and he's going to bump draft us down straight now, because I think if he knows he doesn't do it, he knows the Alpha's going to probably overtake him, so he's going to bump draft us to try and stop the Alpha getting past him. However, the way this works is sometimes the car behind is always going to be able to go for movers. You look behind there, the Alpha sends it up the inside. He tries to send it up the inside of ourselves also, but we've got much better exit speed and maintain that P7. So we're up into P7 in this race, and now we've got to try and see if we can catch up to the cars ahead. We're quite a way behind though to the slipstream to Mahata, so we've got a lot of work to do, because obviously Mahata's in the GTR, which is one of the fastest cars down the street, and he's got the slipstream, and P5 has got the slipstream to P4, who's got slipstream to P3, so it's like a long line of slipstreaming going on up ahead, which is going to be very hard to catch, especially in the Porsche with the limited straight line speed. And plus, I'm an absolute noob at this track, I'm not very good at all. And as we come through there though, we notice that someone sent it from behind. I think Road Aventi had sent one up the inside from quite far back, and that's given a nice gap to the cars behind. So the advantage we've got now is we've got a bit of a gap to the cars behind, 1 second gap, and we can just concentrate now on our own lap times and try and see if we can close in on the group ahead. So yeah, let's skip a little bit further on in the race, and you can see we've driven really consistently for about 5 or 6 laps there, and we've got a 2 second gap to P8, so we've really got away from them. We're not involved with that, and we've actually managed to drive pretty well, because with no slipstream we've actually started to catch up with these cars in front. So doing quite a good stint during the middle stage of this race, getting close to P6 there in the Supra. Now the Supra again is going to be faster than the Supra on the straights, faster than the Porsche on the straights, but you know, it's also pretty good through the corners here. So I think the Supra is actually a pretty strong car for this combination, as probably was the Porsche if you could actually drive this track. I'm sure someone who's pretty good at the track will be able to get a good result with the Porsche. Unfortunately, I just had no pace at all at this combination, and it's quite frustrating when you know that, yeah, you should be doing better, but when you just don't have the pace at a track. You've just got to try and get the best result you can. As we're doing quite a good lap so far on this lap. See, we got back into the slipstream. As soon as we're in the slipstream, we're doing better sector time. So we're in the slipstream of P6, who's in the slipstream of Mahata there in P5. So let's see what we can do here, see if we can gain some positions. We're not far behind P3 and 4. At this stage of the race, I was thinking we might be able to salvage a podium from this if we get a bit lucky with some overtakes and managing to stay in slipstream. Without slipstream though, it was always going to be a very difficult task because, like I say, the Porsche really does find it hard to gain on cars because it's long straightaways, completely flat out all the way from that corner, final corner, all the way down this very long straight and then into turn 1. So you can see losing a bit on the straights where the Supra is in the slipstream to the Nissan GTR. He's going to go for a move on Mahata there up the inside. He makes that move and he's up into P5, and now we're going to have a little look as Mahata runs quite wide there. I decided to have a little look up the inside here, not really on there, so just backed out of that one and tucked into the slipstream of Mahata in that Nissan GTR. You can see Mahata running a bit wide again on the second part of the corner, and yeah, just trying to keep it consistent. We don't want to make a big error because you can see we've got a bit of a gap to the cars behind, over 2 seconds, and yeah, we've done really well to build that gap up because we did that without having any slipstream. So at this stage, we're just trying to hold on to the Nissan GTR and see if we can gain any positions from this point onwards. Because after the start, we went down to P10. Any sort of salvage of a result we'll do with this final race that I was doing for the day. Now, like I say, it was only slot 3. I could have gone again, but I was absolutely shattered and wanted to call it a night after slot 3. So again, we're going to skip a little bit further on in the race as we were just following in the slipstream again behind Mahata, and we're now on lap 16. Mahata has a little bit of an error here getting on the power. He gets all out of control and he has to actually back out because he would have we would have been going side by side through there. Probably we would have been a little bit ahead because he had really bad exit speed. And yeah, that means we've lost the slipstream now to P5, which is really frustrating because I think P5 is just about in the slipstream to P4. You can see on the straights he's just pulling away, gaining nearly 2 tenths on every straight. So quite frustrating. You can see he's just he's in the slipstream to P4. So at this stage, this is going to be really difficult. What we need now at this stage of the race is for Mahata in that Nissan GTR to really be right behind us and pushing on the straights to bump draft us, because through the corners Porsche was definitely better, especially the last sector. I noticed the Nissan GTR was struggling on the throttle on the final sector of the race. It was really struggling to put that power down, whereas the Porsche is quite good on traction. We all know that Porsche is one of the better cars for traction zones. So through here, for example, Porsche very strong on traction, Nissan GTR getting a little bit out of shape again behind us, and then again through here you can see the difference. On the Porsche you can really put your foot flat down, and again you can see the gap we build up to the Nissan GTR where he's just not able to put that acceleration down as easily as you can in the Porsche. But we're going to see what we can do, see if we can push on and see if we can get into that slipstream of P5, but it's going to be extremely difficult. Like I said, we need Mahata to be really pushing and bump drafting us along the straight, which he's going to do here. Now you can see the advantage that gives you. 4 or 5 miles per hour instantly gained with the bump draft, so it does gain us a little bit of time. We're not far off the slipstream. You can see we're only a couple attempts away from picking up that slipstream to P5. So yeah, really interesting. If we could just get into the slipstream, we'd have a chance here. So pushing as hard as we can, trying to see if we can get as close as possible through here again, trying to clip that apex and get on the throttle really early. It's a really tricky corner, that, because sometimes you feel like you can get on the power, you do get on the power, and then you just understeer wide and you lose even more time when you get the dirty tyres and stuff. So yeah, a very tricky track, I feel. It's one of them tracks that just doesn't seem to gel with me very well. Again, through this final corner, getting on the power nicely, and again Mahata out of shape behind. You can see it in the mirror there, got all out of shape, and that's frustrating because if he would have possibly at this stage gave us a big bump draft, we might have got ourselves into the slipstream. And I think P5 has actually lost the slipstream to P4 at this stage, so this would have been the perfect moment for that really strong boost of speed to maybe get even closer to the slipstream. But you can see, looking behind us, even though he's gaining almost 6 tenths on that straight with the slipstream, he's not close enough to really help in terms of pushing us forward in the race. So yeah, you can see the advantage with the Nissan GTR is straight line speed, but it's definitely struggling through the corner. So again, we're going to skip a little bit further on in this race as we almost managed to get into the slipstream of P5. So we were doing this on pace. Obviously we got no slipstream, and we were so close to getting it through here. You can see we actually did get within a slipstream range. However, because we're going through that corner, you don't actually get any benefit from it. So you can see into the slipstream. However, the Supra is a faster car and just manages to boost out of it. You can see there, and gets that gap just outside the slipstream range. So that was really frustrating. I've been pushing. You can see a personal best on lap 20 and then a solid lap on 21, but unfortunately it just wasn't good enough to get into the slipstream. And again, you can see if we would have had a couple of bump drafts, I think we possibly would have been in that slipstream a lot stronger, and we could have maybe have gone for a P5. It looks like P4 is just a little bit too strong and starting to pull away from P5 also in this race. But yeah, at least we've managed to get ourselves back into the top 6 at this stage of the race. You can see we're trying our best, pushing the limits as much as I dare around this track. I wish I could push more than what I was doing, but it just seems that my ability on this track is not very good. I tried my best, but we just didn't really have the pace. You can see trying to get close to the apex, trying different lines sometimes as well, just to see if I could figure something out about the track, see if there was somewhere that, you know, I'm losing pace. And again, through that final corner, doing it okay there, pushing up to the wall, and actually we break the slipstream to Mahata, but he will pick that back up with the power of the Nissan GTR. You can see that he's going to gain more than a tenth on this straight, so he's going to get back into the slipstream. But yeah, there's not much we could do without that extra boost. The Supra was pretty strong down the straight also, and also Supra is one of the strongest cars through the corners as well. So yeah, lap 23, still in P6. We're going to skip ahead now towards the end of the race, and we can see Mahata has managed to get that slipstream on lap 26 or 25 now, 26 now, and I think he's possibly going to go for a move on this lap. Let's have a little look. Now I stayed to the right because the aim was here to try and do a little bit of a cut back. You can see he goes for that move, and then we just cut back on him, take a wide line, and that is probably the best thing you can do with a Porsche, because the Porsche is quite good at doing stuff like that. So again, we managed to hold onto that position with a nice cutback and putting ourselves back up to P6, and then again through here trying to get on the power as early as we can. And then we've got that final sector to try and get right, because we know that the Nissan GTR in this final sector is its weakness. So let's have a little look in that mirror as we come through here. You can see on the power, and again look in the mirror at the Nissan GTR, really struggling to get on the power. So yeah, it just seems like I know from personal experience with Nissan GTRs, again we come through that corner, he struggles again. I don't like the Nissan GTR because it really is a car that when you want to be aggressive on the throttle, it just doesn't give you the grip, and that's why I tend to avoid driving it. So that is probably why he was suffering so much on that few sectors there. But you can see we're holding on to P6 in this race as we start lap 27. And yeah, you can see as we come to the end of the straight, he's just not close enough to go for a move there. As again, we skim the wall almost there, pushing the limits on lap on turn 1, all the way to the wall, trying to make sure that we hold on to P6. Although it's not a brilliant position, at least it's recovered from the P10 that we had dropped down to. So yeah, trying to keep it smooth on lap 27 through here. We do a nice exit on that corner, actually do quite good exit speed. Managed to make it so he can't go for a move into this braking zone. And again, let's see if we can get on the power nice and early through here. Hooked that up quite nicely that time. Got a nice gap as again Mahata struggles in that Nissan GTR through that corner, and then again on the exit here you can see on the power nice and early, and again he seems to struggle on the exit there of that corner. And again we hook up this corner quite nice on this lap, and we've give ourselves quite a solid gap. You can see almost breaking the slipstream again, so we should be fine for the next braking zone. So we skip ahead to the final lap there. We've managed to hold him off and got the P6. So quite an enjoyable race, even though we didn't have pace. It was still entertaining. We managed to fight our way back to P6 from P10 after absolutely bottling the start. Quite frustrating though, because we had to slipstream to P2, so a podium was possible in this race. Just a bit annoyed at myself for that silly mistake that we did, but things like that happen. We walk away with 275 points, not really anything to write home about, but yeah, we'll move on to a couple of other races. Hopefully we'll have some other tracks that are a little bit more suited to myself. I know this season isn't particularly the best for me in terms of combinations, but I'm sure there'll be 1 or 2 tracks that will suit us a little bit more. Anyway, thanks again for watching. Do hit that like button if you enjoyed this video, subscribe to the channel and hit that notification button so you don't miss any future videos. Thanks again for watching, everyone.